What's going on, guys? Welcome to part 2 of OPS Unfiltered. This is with Fabricio, Uncle Fabricio now. Uncle Fabricio, he's from Flieber. So Flieber is a modern forecasting decision-making tool for modern e-commerce merchants, or retail merchants, rather. So we're doing a part 2 because I think both of our companies we're really excited about the future of AI and supply chain. This is a conversation that we would honestly just have offline, and we're taking it online. First off, reintroduce yourself. Who are you? And what are some updates that have happened with Flieber? How are you embedding AI into the tool?
Thanks for having me, Jared and Brendon. My name is Fabricio Miranda. I'm the founder and CEO of Flieber. And Flieber is a decision-making tool for inventory planning. If you think about Flieber pre-AI and post-AI, the way I see things happening, like it evolved a lot. I was I'm not going to say bearish, but I knew AI was a little bit of a bubble. And it's kind of playing out now. A lot of people thought it was going to revolutionize from the night and day. And yeah, LLMs are great, but you're not changing Luminous. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed at Flieber. And the companies that tried to introduce AI was mostly either cosmetics or productivity tools, simply because it's a great LLM tool. So for things like synthesizing or summarizing things or making, chats, those things are cool. But for decision-making and data gathering, it's not there yet.
I think a good topic to start off with is, for example, the CEO of Klarna made a post. It went very viral. It's like, we are no longer using any system of record like Salesforce, in ERP's done. It's all AI. And everybody was kind of like, really? Like, so it's like this broader topic of, is AI going to dismantle systems of record rather, or is it going to sit on top of that? Is it somewhere in the middle? Like, where does AI actually disrupt our industry?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how do you see that, Brendon?
I like to think back to like a year ago, or maybe it was a year when ChatGPT first came out, and there was this rush to build co-pilots, and it was like this cool concept. And I remember we had somebody that was working at Luminous, and their idea of how to introduce AI was like, what if you could tell your phone, I'm transferring it from bin A to bin B? And I was just like,
yeah,
nobody wants to talk to their computer.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to replace a user experience with like text prompts and have to deal with like the potential errors of that. Like, people still want a normal interface. And the easy question is like, oh, let's just add a chatbot. But no, people got rid of command prompts 20 or 30 years ago. Yep. Nobody wants.
Well, it's like people can only view AI through what they've seen in ChatGPT, which is just prompt-based AI.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's just like in the reporting, we'll just add a prompt and then it'll like return. So it's like,
yeah,
it's so
I
unimaginative.
just demoed a product. It was cool. It was really awesome. I could ask it questions about my data, but it was hard. It was slow because it would have to go query the data. It just wasn't straightforward. And all I really wanted was just a dashboard. And they made it this complex that I had to access my dashboard by asking AI the right question.
And I think more than that, in the case of Flieber, we also tried that, and we have designs, and we showed the investors. Investors loved it because
investors love it.
Investors love it. You talk about AI, everybody's now you're on the right track.
How you can raise it 100 million versus,
and it was kind of the same thing. It was basically a chat on the side where you would say, "Oh, how many units do I have of product A?"
Yeah,
But isn't it much simpler to just open a dashboard filtered by that product, because you can then see that product or that product with other products, or filter by A products or B products, and you can do anything. And in AI, can you imagine in a chat?
So
collect?
Who thought it'd be a good idea?
Yeah.
Instead of clicking the button to view your products out of stock, you have to tell the AI how many products are out of stock,
and it's gonna give you a list, and with nothing else on the list, right? So
I feel like, this is my opinion, supply chain tools, AI disrupting supply chain tools it's very specific decisions, very, very specific decisions. For example, like changing price based on certain contexts in your data across like multiple channels. For inventory purposes, like I think obviously there's so many use cases around like cleaning and mapping data and integrating to other tools.
Yeah, this is where I think AI is an artificial intelligence. It doesn't know the right answer. And that's where everybody jumps to like forecasting, or like it's going to be able to figure out how much I should buy or what I should set the price to. And it's like, actually, there's machine learning algorithms that existed for a decade
Yeah,
already that do
we've
that.
used that.
Large
since the
language
beginning of
models
Flieber.
are not going to give you the right answer, nor are they
Yeah.
going to be able to tell you the right price to set it at.
Yeah.
It's going to be able to do really boring things that actually takes up the majority of your time.
Yeah.
Like cleaning your data. Like Fabricio, how many customers have you gotten where their data was dog shit and you couldn't do anything? And like, how can AI impact that?
I agree 100% with Brendon. But that said, I have kind of a hot take here because I just made a post today about my view of revenue per year per employee.
Yeah.
And I had an objective of getting 250,000 per year per employee. And now I'm thinking it's going to be more like $2.5 million tenfold per year per employee. And in a few years, I think it's going to be $25 million per year per employee. And that shows how bullish I am with AI. After we started doing a bunch of tests inside of Flieber, I don't think the technology is not even close to that. But I think what changed in the past couple weeks was my vision of how these companies are going to interact with each other, right? So, talking to my co-founder Jair a few days ago, he is in the Silicon Valley and being, totally, I think, drowned in this AI world. Everything is about AI at Silicon Valley at this time. And we're talking about how what is the role of these companies in the future? And I think the vision that all these companies are going to be assistants. I think it's a little bit Copilot, but it's less than Copilot, it's more assistant. So think about it. Think that today, if you want to have you have a company and you need like content, for example, the only thing you can do is to hire someone that produces content or hire an agency that produces content. But at the end of the day, you're adding one more team member directly or indirectly because you have that need. And you have a bunch of other needs in the company, right? So in the end of the day, you're assembling a team, right? Around all the things you have to do. That's the paradigm of the old world.
I mean, you're just essentially pitching the idea of agents being able to do actions for you.
Exactly. So I'm saying, it's not only that, it's connected agents. So imagine that you now have the AI content creator, which is your assistant, and then you have another, I don't know, whatever you need to do, like accounting, and you're kind of onboarding this accounting agent. But this accounting agent will be connected to the other agents, and all of the context needed for this accounting agent to perform is going to already be there. It's going to be immediately trained. You don't have to train a person and get them up to speed and deal with, the days that they have to take care of their son and then leave early and stuff. So that kind of clicked in my head that AI assistants are going to be things that you're going to turn on and off. And each time you turn on, it comes into the team and it's kind of aggregated into the team. Anytime it turn off is going away again.
Maybe
so that's the hot take I have. So I'd love to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, you sound like who's the guy on All In podcast? I forget his name. J Cal. You sound like J Cal. J Cal gets overly optimistic with things, and I think what he does, and I think most people do, is you see this progress in technology, you see this huge jump, and everybody's natural response is to say like, well, if we continue at this rate, we're just going to be out.
Yeah.
But in reality, what happens is that first 80% is a huge jump, and that final 10% in gains, which is the most important 10% to actually be productive and helpful, maybe it takes a decade, maybe it takes 20 years, maybe it takes 30 years. And I think at least somebody who uses AI constantly for programming, it has so far to go because the mistakes it makes is so stupid. Like if you've ever worked with it in a constant basis.
But my team works a lot with AI for programming. Does your team use AI for coding?
Yeah, constantly. But it does a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, but how much it saves in time?
Oh, it does. But the idea of autonomous agents is so far out.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not. I think you're going too far. Also, on my view of the short term, I'm not talking about autonomous agents. I'm talking about assistants. So decision support is not decision making. It's not agents that are going to make the decisions for you. It's a content creator is not a content creator that is going to just get whatever you need and produce whatever and that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the potential of the connection of all these assistants. It's the same thing you have today with ChatGPT, but instead of being a ChatGPT content creator, it's an agent that is an assistant, that is integrated with the other assistants and working in group, right? So I think the hot take here is that there will be connectivity between these assistants that you onboard into your team, right? And I even think there's going to be a company doing that connection with those assistants. So I think you also thought that I was thinking about one of those worlds where no people do anything anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about assistants, not agents.
At least in the next 10 years, the companies that are going to win, or where you're going to see AI embedded, it's in vertical SaaS companies. So like think like the healthcare space, or think like, I don't know, bridal shop ERPs. And then the AI agents that you're talking about are like these AI
Agents,
plugs
AI
on
assistants.
these AI
Let's
AI
not use the
assistants.
AI agents.
But they are agents.
Like
It's
with a
different.
different role.
the problem
It's
is like
different,
there's going to be there's so many layers of context to make decisions and do things that it has to be vertical specific. Like it has to be for like the restaurant
agree
space
100%.
or for the bridal shop
I agree
space,
100%.
and like a very specific part of it.
Why isn't that the way to do it? Why isn't that going to happen? Because what I think is exactly that, is that all those assistants are going to be extremely specific for a use case, and you can turn them on and off. And if you change the use case, or if you have different use cases,
Why
can
would
have
you make them
different
very
assistants.
specific?
Because of what he's saying, because each type of use case has specific context. So there are going to be cases where you can embed all context into the same model, but there are cases that you have to be very specific. Just think about image producing, for example. If you go and produce image based on general models, you're going to see certain results. If you get specific models, for example, you want to produce an image like your kid in a Disney character. If you have an AI model trained for producing images of people in a Disney character, is going to do a lot better job than a general AI that you give the same prompt.
Well, I guess when you say train, are you talking about a different prompt, or are you talking about different LLM?
No, I'm talking about the training of the AI itself. So what do you feed the AI, and you work on the prompts of the AI for the app to produce? Because the training is through prompts, right? So you're basically feeding information, seeing the results, perfecting your prompt, feeding information, seeing the results, perfecting your prompt, up to the moment that you have a prompt that is going to encompass that whatever you're deciding.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm talking about is that prompts go different ways. They can start the same, but they go different ways based on the different use cases. That's how I see it.
So I'm going to name a couple things, like because when I think of supply chain specifically for retail, I'm going to name a couple of like checkpoints, and you guys tell me which one you think is most prime for disruption for AI. So like, for example, booking freight forwarders.
Totally, 100% disruptive. You don't think so?
I agree. I think a specific use case like that is awesome. Replenishing from your 3PL to FBA.
It's less easy than the first one, but I think it's disruptive also.
Price adjustments for all of your channels. So if I'm
that is a harder one, I think, because there's a lot of context outside of the data for price adjustments. If you're replenishing inventory, you can parameterize that. Yes, you have moments where you're outside of the parameters, and those are going to be the exceptions. But the norm you can kind of automate. The pricing, there's so much around it. I don't think it's going to be disrupted by AI. Do you guys think? Well, I'm gonna give my opinions, or are you guys gonna give yours? Come on.
I don't know.
We're recording this, but nobody's gonna make you accountable, Brandon. Come on. It's just a chat between friends in a moment that there's no decision about anything, no clear future. So
this is how I behave in a chat. I think really hard. And just so what goes on in my brain is I come up with an answer, then I come up with a retort, and then I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. It's too broad. I think it comes down to the problem of like
booking freight forwarders is too broad.
No, the term AI is too broad.
Oh, okay.
Because we're essentially we're creating this like solution that is like can do everything, and then we're saying what can it do or can't do.
So what I think is interesting is the discussion that Brendon and I have a lot offline is like, what is our vertical? Because again, it can't just like we serve a bunch of industries, but like, what is our vertical? If I were to say that Luminous is building a vertical system of record like what is that? And I would say like it's for modern omni-channel merchants. And where are we going to embed AI? Well, it's going to be like the specific use cases that we see for omni-channel merchants that you could replace with an AI. Some very specific things I would say is like onboarding, developing your product catalog list, and
mapping
your data from one system to another, from Luminous to another channel. Like that's almost where I'm most excited. It's like these super boring things that happen in the background.
I think the greatest impact on AI are kind of way more boring to talk about.
I agree.
I'm thinking back to 4UP, which was a vertical SaaS company. I'm thinking like, what could we have done differently? And the things that become way more efficient have nothing to do with the software, really. It comes down to training somebody on how a golf course works becomes way easier. The immediate, I can critique and grade every interaction that when I hire a brand new customer support rep out of BYU and they're helping somebody, every interaction they have now, AI can give them pretty decent contextual clues on like what they're doing good, what they're doing bad, what they could do differently, and giving them tools to learn. Like the questions that were unaskable before to Google, you can ask and you can get instant clues into what that means. Yeah. So like when somebody in Alabama has problems in the golf course and they ask it and you're like, what in the world does that mean? Like they could now ask AI and get contextual clues and learn way quicker. And I think what that does is it lets you have a lot less people. You don't need quite as many employees. Not even because AI is doing everything.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just, it teaches, it can help you. Yeah. As you said, like you can be an assistant to like give you way more information way quicker to like level up.
So you're saying the same thing. I think in the beginning when I said the assistant,
I call it the weave.
Yeah, I think you thought I was talking about this disruptive, dystopian world, and it's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is exactly what you're saying. How are you able to create a company where every single person in the company is producing a lot more because it has a lot more information? And then, what you needed 3 people to do, you now need 1 because that 1 person plus AI is a superpower, right? We're talking about superpower in Flieber. And I see Flieber as that. I see Flieber as the company giving superpowers to the people operating their inventory, making their inventory decisions. Hopefully, 1 person will be able to do the job of everybody in the company because the AI is helping that person, giving the notifications at the right times and giving the context that they need and all of those things that are easily the boring things that you were talking about, right?
And there's a bit of a pivot. Talking about like, there was a company I talked to a few months ago. While everybody was doing like these co-pilots that really didn't go anywhere, they started implementing AI and doing lots of small things. And so their platform is all about importing data into other systems. And they did this really cool thing where they trained a local LLM to make quick modifications. So it was a super highly specialized language model that could run locally on their servers. They didn't have to go out to OpenAI. And it would do things like you would import your Excel spreadsheet and maybe you have a column of emails. And before, validating emails sucks. And maybe you have some, depending on where you export it from, it's like it's not complete, or maybe it has like at instead of the at symbol, like 100 miscellaneous problems. Mm-hmm. And so what it let you do is it'll just let you fix these emails. And so instead of even coming up with some sort of JSON rule to modify one to the other, it would literally run that super localized, super specialized large language model on every single row and fix everything for you. And it would do that for categories, like fix these tags into the right format, like super specialized things where it was almost like an upgraded Excel spreadsheet. It was so sick.
Yep.
And that reminded me of what you were talking about with the whole mapping process.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the fields that excite me a lot. And that's what Jared said. How do you get all this data that comes in onboarding processes? Both our systems have a lot of data on onboarding. Mm-hmm. How do you get that data and you make sense of it in an easier way, right? The way we do it today is ridiculous. We basically, a team of people sit and study that integration and we have our APIs, and then how do you connect each part of that API to our API and route that data to the right place and maybe transform that data in the middle of the way. And it's ridiculous. That's not going to be done that way. That's one of the things that I deeply think that AI is going to solve. Right?
It's so sick. Like that's one of the things I think we've been doing. So we have like for our integrations, we have a standard interface that we just can hire a contractor and they just have to build into. But you give that interface to a large language model. You give the API spec of whoever we're building into.
Exactly.
It outputs the code for us.
Yeah.
It's not reusable. Like we can't like offer that to our customers as like a end all be all.
Yeah.
But it turns the integration process that used to be, maybe 20 to 40 hours into 2 to 3 hours.
Yep.
It's fully tested and it's better.
Now imagine if you don't need that other end because the AI goes one step further and is able to understand the context of the data that is coming in.
Right.
So basically you're just plugging into an API, letting things come without any kind of context. And based on the context in your platform of other similar data that is loaded, you're going to understand what is each piece of that information, right? And based on also the
See, this is where it gets though into like this, I think we tend to do this with like really big features. We dream and dream and dream.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it becomes this God feature that can do everything. And it's like, we never actually get there.
Yeah. No, I think that's a company in itself. I don't think it's
Right.
something that you have to do or I have to do, as Flieber or as Luminous.
I think something interesting that we're already seeing. Here's a use case in the warehouse. Rate shopping. So rate shopping is already available with tools. Like you can optimize it for like the lowest cost. I think
What
you're
is
gonna
rate
see
shopping?
Rate shopping is where, so for example, if I'm shipping out my product in
for
this box,
shipping labels.
yeah, if I'm printing out a shipping label in this box. So the old way of doing it was I would have to I'd have my weights and dims and everything in. I'd have the packaging details, and then on ShipStation it would display FedEx and UPS and this and that. So rate shopping is essentially all it is like you would manually input automations in your settings, and then so it's not AI, but it's just optimized for like
rules.
It's just a rule for like, okay, if it's in this zone, then choose
it's
this type.
If this, then that.
Optimized for like. So I think that's where AI is probably going to hit the market first. Is like, okay, well, like real rate shopping optimized to save you cost.
Yeah, the problem to save you cost is that there's a lot of context around what save you cost means, right? Because maybe you prefer the most expensive one on this shipment because it arrives earlier than the cheaper one, and maybe in the next shipment it's the other way around. You have enough inventory, so that's where it gets a little hard to understand.
Well, and
where AI is going to
why-
go, right?
And that's as soon as you add in another layer of context, which is why you have to look at specific use cases. But I think that's one. People in the warehouse generally would probably say shop for the cheapest rate. Like that's probably what they'll do. And and you're bringing up a point, like, yes, when you have to look at an additional layer of context and like, okay, it kind of falls apart there. Another one is like,
I don't even think it falls apart. It just needs that extra context, right? So it needs to be trained to receive that extra piece of context. It's like forecasting, for example. We do forecasting with past sales, with price variation, product catalog. But if you want to add, weather, or if you want to add, Taylor Swift is doing a concert in your town and you're going to sell more during that time, those things are almost like add-ons to the same process that you need to create ways to train the AI to consider them, right? But at the moment that you do and create and give that context, it's simple solution.
Here's a question. So in that scenario of shipping, it's almost deterministic. If you had a perfect rule set created, the solution to what label you should pick is like deterministic. You plug X, Y, Z in, and then you should get A, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is AI suited for making those decisions where AI is not actually intelligent?
Not a decision making, yeah.
Or is it ideal for creating the rule sets? So because in my mind, you use AI. AI is great at creating really complicated configurations. What used to take an implementation manager maybe a few weeks to set up, you could get an AI to set it up instantly.
yeah, that was actually like, if I were to close out the point. So instead of me having to go, like, for example, going to ShipStation and write all of those automations manually,
Yes.
when the whole fucking point is like, just get me the lowest cost shipping label. And obviously there's going to be some other rules around that. But if I could just prompt an AI, like, hey, set up automations so that it automatically picks the lowest, and then it writes the 27 automations that I have to do. I feel like there's so many use cases like that where it could just write you automations.
Yeah,
that would be really
that's
cool.
almost resolved, right? It's doing that already with
Exactly. Yeah.
What I think is more interesting, and that's what I was discussing with you guys in the beginning, is like, where is this evolving, right? Because that's completely unknown. Nobody knows. Even the big tech companies are going different routes, and is it going to disrupt Luminous? I don't think so. I think systems of record will always be needed, but maybe, as I said to you before, I don't think you need to have an inventory management module. I think the inventory management can have assistants doing that part, and you are going to then feed from those assistants. And be the system of record. Flieber, inventory decisions. I don't think decisions are going to be made by AI, not anytime soon. As you know, AI doesn't make decisions well. AI is what is the next best ladder based on factors and etc. We can go deeper here, but it's a next best ladder system, right? It's not a decision making system.
My pie in the sky like AI idea for e-commerce is, first off, my hot take is that fulfillment is slowly becoming a commodity. I mean, it already kind of is. You're seeing aggregation in the 3PL space. You're seeing what they're doing with AWD. I think the future is going to be like robotics 3PLs, and simply because they can do it for the cheapest and the most efficient. So what e-commerce companies turn into is like, it's this one super powered human that is using AI to make decisions. Like what would normally take them literally 30 minutes to look at all of the contextual data to make a decision.
That is the point.
Now you can have, this is my prediction, is like in 10 years, everybody will be using like a robotics 3PL, and then you can have one person running like a $200 million brand.
Yeah,
because
totally,
because AI can just power them to make decisions like so much faster.
Yeah.
That's my hot take. I don't know if that's...
No, I agree 100%. I think that's it. That's why we talk now. We were talking about, Flieber's website earlier today. Using the superpower is a great term, because that's what I think AI is going to do. It's going to superpower us, right? We're going to be able to make the decisions better because we have more data, more easily accessible data in better quality. And so there's a bunch of different things that AI is gonna play a role.
So, like, for example, shopping for freight forwarders. Whenever I purchase something, oh my god, like the amount of data that I have to gather. Like, okay, what is my total weights and dims for this shipment? And like, and sometimes a good ERP can provide some of that contextual data, but then I have to grab this, put in an Excel sheet, put it in formula. Now I have to send it to this freight forwarder, and then I have to email this one, and then I have to email this one.
That is where AI will change.
And then, so
shop for me, and
it's like as if that data just existed, then technically an AI could be trained to just pull all of that for you, and probably just send out an email and ask for a quote.
The other day I was in Pittsburgh visiting my son at university, and we wanted to go out for dinner in a place that didn't have online reservation. And then I had read somewhere about the Google Assistant for reservations. Have you guys seen that?
I've used it,
Yeah. So basically Google calls the restaurant and makes a reservation for you. Now imagine that the restaurant also has their assistant, right? So they're calling. So that's what I think you're saying, Jared.
I see what you're saying.
Each of these freight forwarders might have their own assistants that are the sales assistants, and you have the purchase assistant, and your purchase assistant is sending a message to all the sales assistants saying, hey, I have this shipment here, give me the quotes. Right? And then suddenly, the snap of a finger, you have all the quotes in front of you, from not only from the freight forwarders that you know and you have a relationship with, but all the freight forwarders in the world.
Or even more boring, another use case is like our inbound shipment reconciliation. So a lot of times the brand system of record and then the 3PL system of record, you have a receipt that happens and you need to reconcile that. Like, I don't know, so many boring things like that where I feel like AI can help flag things quickly or fix things.
Listening to people online talk about AI frustrates me more than anything, because I feel like it's so easy to pivot into this, like, it's a God feature that can do anything, and now it solves a lot of problems. What if you reframe this conversation? I think the industry that's been impacted most by AI has probably been writers, clip art, and programmers.
Yeah.
I'm most familiar with programmers. So let's go there. If I think through, it's already impacted it more than anything else. If we just assume that type of impact will carry through other industries, it'll just be slower. What has the impact been?
No, but I think the impact was just because those industries are tailored to LLM.
So we were talking about
LLM
pie in the sky. Now you're getting to like, okay, what is like actually logically the next impact? I think you already nailed it. Like, so there's writers, copywriting, content, coaching, like that. I mean, that's where I'm literally seeing that in the tool right now that we use, Ask Elephant. I think the next immediate step is just like coaching our internal employees on how to be better employees, and probably use it.
Or tutoring kids. I was talking to my kid the other day. I was going to a concert with him in New York, and we had like a 1 hour commute. And we're talking about that. He's going to have an assistant tutor. It's going to be part of his team. He's going to have an assistant scheduler. It's going to be part of his team. Today's schedule for him is a mess because he has, soccer, he has the band, he has school, and he has a bunch of different activities. And he's 16 years old. I don't want to be, telling him what to do. He needs to figure out. So he's going to have a scheduler. And whenever he has any issue, the scheduler is going to come up to him and say, hey, someone just booked, or you just double booked for this time. What should I do?
Well,
Cancel this one. And then his assistant is going to connect to the assistant off the other side, and is going to come up with a decision on what is the next best time for that appointment. Well, in my opinion, that's not even future. That should be that should be done like in a few months, right? If it's not being done already, I don't know. But you don't see that as short term, Brendon? Tutoring and scheduling, all those things that are one step above from simple LLM.
Tutoring, yes, because it's replacing. It's not even replacing. It's aiding, and some interaction already happens. Like I have so many examples like this kid scheduler one. That's more like it's deterministic. It's like a calendar, right? But I also don't think you need like this concept of different assistants. I also disagree with, because I think that's just a symptom of LLM with a small context window, and that like the idea of having to like have different prompts for an LLM is just a matter of fact of their context window is so short. You need a different context. And so that's something I don't think you'll.
You think it's going to be one big thing that you're going to use?
Yeah, I think ChatGPT will be able to do a lot of these small things. You won't have to have custom assistants. It's how does those assistants interface with the real world that I think gets more interesting, and where there's a lot of different play, because ChatGPT can't interface with everything.
Well, if you look at where AI is disrupting systems of record, or rather augmenting systems of record, it's in, like, for example, I do a sales demo and then it coaches me beautifully. Like, or I can select all of the things all of my meetings, and it coaches me beautifully. It tells me trends. I think something with like systems of record, like Luminous and inventory systems, honestly, it could be as simple as coaching them on their decisions. Like, they did a transfer order and like it looks like this thing went out of stock, and
how do you
maybe it could coach you on being a better operator. Like,
yeah, your thing about tutors, I think that is the ability to learn, I think, has been accelerated like 100x. That's got to be the most impactful. The ability to, like, I remember I was talking with my brother yesterday actually about this. He's in college right now, and we were talking about how he uses it. He doesn't use it to he says it gets every question wrong in his, he's like in a 3,000 level engineering class. It gets every question wrong, but it knows exactly how to teach. And so
interesting.
You can bring up any problem and it can tell you how to get to the right answer. And all of a sudden you're not stuck. I remember taking physics in college, and I would just get stuck on a problem. I wouldn't even know what question to ask Google, right? I'd have to go to a lab. I'd have to sit down with a TA, teach 10 people at a time how to do a specific problem. I'd get stuck on the next one. That now ChatGPT exists to the point where it can actually explain exactly how to go step by step. You can even give it to the answer, and then it actually does even better. And I think how does that apply to everything we're doing in our life? How do we become even better learners? This is what happened last year with EDI. a concept I was completely foreign to, had no idea what EDI was, didn't even know what questions to ask Google. And a month later, we had embedded EDI because it was able to get me through all these things where I didn't even have the concept of knowing what to ask Google.
Yeah.
I feel like that's actually probably the next.
That's already
immediate
there.
next-
It's already. It's not even
Well-
next. It's this.
Well, the
What-
functionality
what-
exists.
what
Yeah,
we're
the
doing.
function, but like who's embedded like real like supply chain or operations decision making coaching into their tool. Like for example, I'm trying to replenish FBA, but like I don't know how to even. I don't even know what to reference, like what context to reference to like get to a good decision. I feel like that's where AI could like it could coach you. It could like here. Well, first
the
let's look at
question
this.
I have
and
is
then-
only first. I would love to talk more about this idea of a huge model that solves everything, because I don't know if that's the way I see the future.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to see the future as, as if you went back to the 1900s and talked about the things that we're doing today, nobody would believe because those things didn't even exist at the time.
Right.
Right. And I think it's a little bit like that. I think we are going to evolve to a somewhere where we don't have this big god called OpenAI doing everything for everybody that everybody needs. I do think that we're going to find things that are going to now slice that into very specific new niche things, because that's how humans are.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is going to be very good at, maybe we're going to have over-specialization. Maybe it's going to be coding for people who work with flip-flops. I'm just being stupid here, but I'm talking about hyper-specialization.
I think that because that's how many companies started like 6 months ago or a year ago building off the OpenAI API, thinking like, oh, this would be so cool, but not realizing OpenAI would be able to do that in 6 months. And I think that's the question you have to ask is
because we're still in the LLM world.
right, but what is the next level? That isn't something like every time somebody's like prompt engineering was so big a year ago, and it was so dumb. Like just being able to adjust a prompt, there's no talent there, and it's more of a bug of the LLM and not a feature.
Yeah.
because that's how you interact with it. It's
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of the data side that we're not talking about, right? So access to specific types of data that are hyper specialized or specific for that type of product or problem. I mean, because if you are, it's just the same discussion about generalists versus technical people that have a specialized knowledge. I think ChatGPT is going to be an amazing generalist model, but when it comes to very specific use cases, you will probably get wrong the answers because it has so much context about other cases that are not that one, that
Maybe
it's probably not going to be able to identify that you were talking about that specific use case.
I would have thought that maybe a year ago, and like the best programmer would probably be a LLM specific to coding, and so you have like Copilot, but no. ChatGPT continues, or the Cloud 3.5, I think it's a little bit
But
better
it's still, I think you're using examples that are
it's-
very LLM driven, right? So coding is not different than writing content, right? So it's basically what is the next best letter,
Mhm.
okay? So when you get out of that, what is the next best letter world, when you get more specific things that you need more context, you need decision-making capabilities at a certain level that ChatGPT today doesn't have. I think you get a little bit away of this very bread and butter next best letter world. I think data is going to play a huge role. Contextualized data is going to play a huge role, and today you don't have that. You kind of don't need.
Well, is that just a matter of having your own database of data that ChatGPT plugs into?
Maybe
And simply be
maybe
able to
that's
create it?
maybe 2 years from now we should do this podcast again about the same. No, let's put on the schedule and see, because maybe you don't know, I don't know. We're just having a
Well,
discussion here.
But this is where I going back to where is the world going? If I just look at the impact on programming, AI has destroyed the junior level tasks.
Yeah.
I have to question myself, is it worth hiring a junior developer who's going to do what ChatGPT can do for me already?
Yep.
And if programming is the first world to be disrupted, writing, same thing. Why would you hire a junior level writer?
Yep.
going into e-commerce or forecasting, what junior level roles are there that are just busy work?
Yeah, see, like this is where my mind goes. When I try to go get out of prompt-based AI, like something that you have to type, do this, and then AI does something. Like an immediate thought is like, okay, something in ops that happens all the time is data comes in, it's mismapped, and you have to clean it. Like there's a junior level task that happens all the time. It's immediately like you could have AI map data, and that would be incredibly powerful.
No, even customer success, right? Why do you need junior people in customer success?
Right.
The first level of customer success can be completely disrupted by AI.
Right. If the most difficult tasks are being escalated to a next tier, what's the entry level task? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that's the point. Yeah.
I guess we'll see what happens.
And I think there's no right or wrong. I think, and I'm completely fine with your world or your world. I think here my idea is, how do I get better at projecting what's going to happen with Flieber through discussion with intelligent people?
Yeah.
That's my.
I'm bullish on systems of record staying. Like, there's a place for systems
I
of
agree
record
with that.
in ERP.
Yeah.
And in fact, I think, like, for example, if you think about NetSuite or Salesforce, I actually think they're best positioned to come up with very specific AI products that just.
Sorry, one more point that it made me remind me. Like this idea that system of records are going away, a vertical SaaS is going to be killed by AI for some reason. You would have to assume, it's easy to say it when you're a $1 billion company with a budget and you're going to hire an engineering team. But can you honestly expect, like, let's go to 4UP, that every $1 million golf course is going to build their own ERP? It's like, absolutely not, right?
No.
Somebody has to build the tool set that's going to do all the work for them or bring AI in a way that's applicable. And I think I agree with you where it has to be specialized. You can't have a generic ChatGPT that does everything.
I was going to say that's the.
But this is where the industry. Industry specific stuff, like, because it's the new system of record to emerge in the golf industry, for example, could be one that the default it does all of the junior level tasks. It like counts your inventory. I don't know. I don't know what the junior level tasks are, like,
right.
Manages the booking, the tee sheet or something. Like, I feel like those are going to be the systems of record that crush it.
No, I think systems of record are here to stay, and you always need. I just question what is the role of the system of record, because today there's kind of a confusion between being the system of record and being the source of truth, and those two things are separate. I think system of record is what connects to the different sources of truth, and the sources of truth are hyper-specialized. They are going to be AI assistant based, and system of record is the one that gets all the information, and it's also giving information to those tools.
I feel like specifically in the problem that we're trying to solve, because Flieber is more like it can connect to all of your different sales channels and all of your different 3PLs, and it just makes it drafts. It's not necessarily the system of record. So I feel like what we'll find out in the next 2 years is either you will crush everybody, or Luminous will be an awesome.
No, I don't think I'm going to crush everybody. I just do that because I don't have access to data. I don't think it's Flieber's role to be trying to access data. System of record. Yeah. It's not a role. I would much rather have you guys having all the data and me plugging to you guys and collecting all the data. That'll be my dream world. It's just that it doesn't exist because my customers don't use Luminous or don't use NetSuite and just sell straight to there's kind of a mix of things going on now because of how still incipient this whole industry is.
Yeah.
Right. But man, you solved that problem. I hooked to you. And I'm happy moving away from being a system of record.
Yeah. Anyways, well, thanks for coming on, Fabricio. We'll chat about this in a year, and we'll see where everything shakes out.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
See ya.